Within the quiet corners of our gardens, a remarkable transformation constantly unfolds. Here, discarded remnants of our kitchens and yards embark on a journey of renewal, orchestrated by legions of tiny, unseen organisms. It is a world teeming with activity, often overlooked, yet vital to the health of our planet. As these organic materials break down, they sometimes release a mysterious, dark liquid. This substance, often referred to as compost leachate, is a fascinating byproduct of nature's recycling prowess. It holds secrets both beneficial and cautionary for the observant gardener. This liquid is more than just water. It is a complex brew, a testament to the intricate processes occurring within the humble compost heap, a miniature ecosystem at work. Compost leachate, in its simplest terms, is the liquid that has percolated through a mass of decomposing organic matter. Think of it as the essence, the very runoff from your compost pile or bin. As fungi and bacteria diligently break down vegetable scraps, leaves and grass clippings, they release water. This moisture, along with any rainwater or added water that seeps downwards, carries with it a host of soluble compounds. It is this very liquid, rich with dissolved substances from the decomposing materials, that we call leachate. Its appearance can vary quite dramatically, from a light, tea-like colour to a dark, almost black, viscous fluid, depending entirely on what has gone into the compost and how far along the decomposition process is. The formation of this intriguing liquid is a direct consequence of the biological and chemical processes that define composting. Microorganisms, the tireless workers of the compost world, are central to this. As they consume and metabolize the organic waste, they respire, releasing carbon dioxide, heat, and crucially, water. This biologically generated water, combined with the initial moisture content of the waste materials themselves, begins its slow descent. On its journey through the layers of decomposing matter, it acts like a solvent, dissolving nutrients, organic acids, and other soluble compounds. The more water present in the compost, whether from very wet food scraps or excessive rainfall, the more leachate is likely to be produced, creating this concentrated liquid extract. The characteristics of compost leachate are not uniform. Indeed, they can be quite diverse. Sometimes it may appear as a light yellowish liquid, perhaps indicating a younger compost or one with different input materials. At other times, it can be a very dark brown or even black, often with a more earthy or sometimes pungent aroma. An odorless leachate is also possible, particularly if the compost is well balanced and aerated. These variations in color and smell offer clues about the compost's condition and its contents. A particularly foul smell might indicate anaerobic conditions, meaning a lack of oxygen, which is less ideal for the composting process and the quality of the resulting leachate. Understanding these subtle signs can help the gardener manage their compost more effectively. One of the most celebrated aspects of compost leachate is its remarkable nutritional content, a veritable feast for plants. This liquid treasure is often brimming with essential macronutrients that plants crave for healthy growth. We find significant quantities of nitrogen, crucial for lush green leafy development. Phosphorus, vital for robust root systems, flower formation and fruit production, is also present. Potassium, another key player, helps with overall plant vigor, disease resistance, and water regulation. Beyond these primary nutrients, leachate can also contain a spectrum of valuable trace elements, those micronutrients like magnesium, calcium, and iron, which, though needed in smaller amounts, are indispensable for various plant metabolic processes, contributing to a well-rounded diet for your garden inhabitants. These dissolved nutrients, readily available in the leachate, can provide a significant boost to plant growth when applied correctly. The nitrogen encourages vibrant foliage, making plants appear healthier and more vigorous. The phosphorus supports the development of strong roots, anchoring the plant firmly and enabling efficient uptake of water and other nutrients from the soil. Furthermore, it plays a critical role in the reproductive cycle of plants, aiding in the formation of flowers and subsequently fruits and seeds. The potassium contributes to the overall resilience of plants, helping them to withstand environmental stresses such as drought or temperature fluctuations, and can even improve the flavor and quality of harvested crops. This natural elixir, therefore, offers a holistic approach to plant nutrition. Beyond directly feeding the plants, compost leachate can also work wonders for the soil itself, enhancing its structure and overall health. When this nutrient-rich liquid is introduced to the soil, the organic compounds it contains can help to improve soil aggregation. This means that tiny soil particles bind together to form larger crumbs, creating a better tilth. Such improved structure enhances aeration, allowing plant roots to breathe more easily, and also improves water infiltration and retention, meaning the soil can absorb and hold moisture more effectively. Furthermore, the organic matter in leachate can stimulate the activity of beneficial soil microorganisms, fostering a thriving underground ecosystem that further supports plant well-being and nutrient cycling within the soil. It is important to recognize, however, that the precise nutritional makeup of leachate is not fixed. It is as variable as the ingredients that go into the compost pile. For instance, leachate derived from compost rich in green leafy materials, such as grass clippings and vegetable scraps, tends to be higher in nitrogen and potassium. Conversely, if the compost contains a significant amount of animal manures, the resulting leachate might be richer in phosphorus. Even the age of the compost can influence the leachate's composition. This inherent variability means that while generally beneficial, the specific impact of leachate can differ from one batch to another, highlighting the dynamic nature of this garden-generated resource and the importance of observing its effects. While compost leachate is often lauded as liquid gold for the garden, it is prudent to acknowledge that it may also carry certain risks if not managed thoughtfully. One potential concern revolves around the presence of pathogens. The composting process, especially hot composting, which reaches high temperatures, is very effective at killing most harmful bacteria, viruses, and fungal spores. However, if the compost pile does not heat up sufficiently, or if it contains particularly resilient pathogens from sources like raw meat scraps, which are generally not recommended for home composting, pet waste, or diseased plants, some of these undesirable microorganisms could potentially survive and find their way into the leachate, posing a risk if applied to edible crops close to harvest. Another consideration, though generally less of a concern for home compost systems, is the potential for heavy metals. These elements, such as lead, cadmium, or arsenic, can sometimes be present in materials added to the compost. For example, if plants grown in contaminated soil are composted, or if certain types of printed inks or treated woods inadvertently find their way into the bin, these metals could leach out. Fortunately, the concentrations in typical home garden compost leachate are usually very low. Moreover, some research suggests that the composting process itself, particularly vermicomposting involving earthworms, can help to bind or transform some heavy metals into less harmful forms, reducing their mobility and uptake by plants. It is absolutely crucial to draw a clear distinction between the leachate produced in a home compost bin and the leachate generated by large-scale municipal landfills. Landfill leachate is a far more complex and potentially hazardous substance. It is formed from the percolation of rainwater through vast quantities of mixed waste, which can include everything from household rubbish to industrial byproducts, plastics, batteries, and chemicals. Consequently, landfill leachate often contains a cocktail of toxic substances, high concentrations of ammonia, salts, and potentially dangerous heavy metals and persistent organic pollutants. Its volume is also immense, posing significant environmental challenges for containment and treatment, a stark contrast to the relatively benign and manageable liquid from a well-managed garden composter. From an environmental perspective, even home compost leachate warrants careful handling to prevent any unwanted impacts. If large quantities of undiluted leachate were to enter waterways, its high nutrient content, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus, could contribute to a problem called eutrophication. This process can lead to excessive algal blooms in rivers or ponds, which deplete oxygen in the water when they decompose, harming aquatic life. While the risk from a single home compost system is minimal compared to agricultural runoff or landfill discharges, it underscores the importance of using leachate responsibly, primarily by diluting it and applying it directly to the soil around plants where it can be beneficially absorbed, rather than allowing it to run off into drains or watercourses. Successfully collecting compost leachate at home largely depends on the design of your composting system. Many modern, commercially available compost bins are thoughtfully designed with a built-in sump or a tap at the base, specifically for easy leachate collection. These systems make it straightforward to drain off the liquid as it accumulates. For those who prefer a do-it-yourself approach, a simple and effective collection system can be created. One common method involves using a container with drainage holes drilled in its bottom, which is then elevated on bricks or blocks. A tray or another suitable vessel is placed underneath to catch the dripping leachate, allowing for its convenient retrieval. When handling compost leachate, especially if its exact composition is unknown, or if the compost contains potentially problematic materials like animal manures, adopting safe practices is always recommended. Wearing waterproof gloves is a sensible precaution to avoid direct skin contact. This is particularly important as even if pathogens are unlikely, the liquid can sometimes cause mild irritation for sensitive individuals. After handling leachate, or working with the compost bin in general, it is always good practice to wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. These simple hygiene measures help to minimize any potential risks, ensuring that the process of using this garden resource remains a safe and enjoyable one for everyone involved. The golden rule for using compost leachate on your plants is dilution. This liquid is often highly concentrated in nutrients, and applying it neat can, paradoxically, harm your plants by burning their roots or foliage due to an excess of salts or ammonia. A general guideline is to dilute the leachate with water at a ratio of approximately 1 part leachate to 10 parts water. For more sensitive plants or younger seedlings, an even more dilute solution, perhaps 1 to 20, might be advisable. This diluted elixir can then be applied to the soil around the base of plants, allowing the roots to absorb the nutrients gradually. It is generally best to avoid spraying it directly onto the leaves of edible plants, especially if there are any concerns about pathogen survival. In conclusion, compost leachate presents itself as a fascinating and often beneficial byproduct of the home composting endeavor. It can be a valuable source of nutrients, promoting vigorous plant growth and contributing to improved soil health over time. However, like many natural resources, it requires understanding and respectful handling. By being aware of its potential, distinguishing it from more hazardous industrial leachates, and employing safe collection and application techniques, gardeners can effectively harness its power. If you find yourself with more leachate than your garden currently needs, consider pouring it back onto a drier section of your compost pile or diluting it further and applying it to lawns or larger ornamental beds, always mindful of responsible stewardship of this garden-made elixir.